to every email, which is why there are 4 steps to writing emails that your subscribers will look forward to. What are the 4 parts to every email? Well, let's dive in. There is the curiosity intro. So what is that? That is when your subscriber is in their inbox looking at your email. They haven't clicked in yet and they're kind of like, should I open this email? Am I curious about what's inside? Do I want to see what is inside this email? Number 2, once they actually click in, the interest intro. So this is kind of a secondary introduction. They already got a primary introduction when they were in their inbox. Now they get a secondary introduction when they click into their email. Is that going to pique their interest even further and keep them reading? Then there's the body, the meat and potato stuff, whatever it is that you want to tell them, the reason that you're emailing, right? Finally, the call to action, the CTA, and that is the drive towards action of, your goal, what you want them to do. Do you want them to download an ebook? Do you want them to buy something? Do you want them to take a survey? What is it that you want them to do? What is it that you want them to click in the email? So those 4 parts. And whenever you write an email, the easiest thing to do is to start backwards. I did not number these wrong. You're supposed to start with number 4. Always start with a goal, right? Like once you have your goal, it's easier to work backwards from your goal instead of just starting somewhere, driving, and not sure where you're going. So you want to start with your goal, your CTA. 2 giant rules for your CTA. Number 1, make it really clear. Don't just kind of leave off like, oh, I have this product. I like it. I think you'll like it too, right? You say, it's on sale now, buy it now. Clear language that they can understand what it is that you want from them. And just clear language in terms of what's going to happen next. When I click this button, is it going to take me to a cart page? Free trial? Do I have to put in my credit card information? What is going to happen when I click this link? Only then, once you are giving them total clarity on what it is that's going to happen for them and what you want from them, that's when you start layering in the emotional stuff, the what's going to happen emotionally for me, what's the outcome, what's my benefit, what's going to happen for me in my life, how will my life improve by clicking on this, how will my life improve by taking your survey, how will my life improve by downloading your ebook, how will my life improve by buying your product. That's when you can start layering in some emotion, because we do things on emotion, not on logic, even when we think we're doing things on logic. So 2 giant rules: be clear and tie in some emotional benefit for them to do the action that you want them to do. Cool? Okay. Once we know what it is that we want them to do, we can give them some context about why we want them to do that thing, right? So you write up your body, you write up the story, the offer, whatever it is that your email is about, right? And once you write that up, I want you to break it up into sections, because there is nothing more overwhelming than opening an email and it's like this giant wall of text, right? Long emails are great, they're fine, they totally perform just as nicely as short emails. Test them, sometimes they perform better for different industries, different people, all that kind of stuff. But your email can be long, it can be a story, it can be anything. It can't be a wall of text because that's overwhelming. So you want to break up your paragraphs, you want to add bullet points, GIFs, emojis, images, whatever it is that works on tone with your brand. You want to make sure that it has white space to breathe, that people can actually consume it and not feel overwhelmed by it visually. Cool? Okay, now, how do we hook them? How do we get them interested in reading the email? Really easy trick. You flip your email. So after you write it, you flip it. Not the whole thing, but you find a line in the middle that's like the meat and potatoes of the story, the awesomeness of the offer, whatever it is, that line that is like the best part of the email, and you move it to the top. So, let's say you are promoting a course on house plant care, okay? So you're teaching people how to take care of their plants, right? So you open the email with the story. Once upon a time, I went to the store, I bought some plants, I took really bad care of them, didn't know what I was doing, they died, I cried, it was awful, okay? That's your story, that's your body, that's number 3, okay? Instead of doing it that way with once upon a time, I went to the store. That's not interesting, that's details, nobody cares about that, right? But it's background, it's important, it needs to be there. So what do you do instead? They died, I cried. Once upon a time, I went to a store and bought houseplants, and I didn't know how to take care of them. That's so much more engaging and so much more interesting, right? you read that line of they died, I cried, and you're like, what is that? Don't write they died, I cried. Obviously, this is an exaggeration. But you read that, and it's so much more interesting, so much more engaging, because it's you dive right into the story, and you want to know what happened. Now you want the details, because you got the meat of it. So you're like, whoa, back up. What are you talking about? This is so interesting for me. Versus just the background stuff to build up the story. I don't have time for that. I'm going to click out. Cool? If you're not writing a story, if that particular doesn't work because you're trying to build things up, something, whatever, another option is to ask a question. Questions are great hooks. As humans, we like answers to questions. We don't like leaving things open. So asking a question is another great way to hook people into your email. Cool? Okay, that is the inside of the email. Now, what about the outside of the email? All the stuff when they are in their inbox, deciding if they should open your email or not, right? So that's actually made of 3 parts. Most people tend to think of the subject line, right? How do I get people to open? I need to A/B test my subject lines. I need to work on my subject lines. What's the open rate? What's the open rate? What's the open rate? It's always about the subject line, right? But it's not. It's also about the preheader, and it's also about the sender name. So sender name, really easy win for most companies, right? Most companies send emails from their company name. If you switch it to Jennifer at company name, you will often see like just a boost in conversions just like that. It's a really easy win. It's really very simple to do and very simple to see results from. So if you're sending from company name, test sending it from a human, and it just makes your emails more human. It makes people relate to them more easily, and it often results in higher conversions. Okay, now subject line and preheader, right? They have to work together. So if your subject line is a curiosity, kind of like, trying to get people to open the email, it's like a curiosity subject line, then you want to make sure that your preheader doesn't give it away, right? Or even more than that, you want to make sure that the hook of the email doesn't give it away, and you can hide that using the preheader. So you want to make sure that your curiosity subject line is the preheader is covering things up, and they're working together in that way. Another way you can have them work together is you can have the subject line be more storytelling and the preheader be more tell it like it is. So the subject line is like, that was fun, and the preheader is 70% off our amusement park ride, right? Or you could do the opposite. You can have the subject line be 70% off and the preheader be the that was fun. So kind of making them work together in that way, and that they complement each other versus that they're like actually working in sync together. Cool? But basically, bottom line is you want them to work together. You don't want to forget your preheaders, and you also should not forget your sender name, because that's another impression from the inbox. Okay, so 4 parts. What are the 4 parts? Do you remember the 4 parts? You have your curiosity intro, you have your interest intro, I'm missing a T. You have the body, the stuff you want to tell them, and you have the call to action. So follow those 4 steps and you're on your way to emails that your subscribers look forward to. Speaking of emails that your subscribers look forward to, join my email list. We talk about this stuff all the time, and hopefully there'll be emails that you look forward to. So you can sign up at nikkielbaz.com. Lots of little opt-in boxes where you can sign up and get more tips like this.